Hey guys, let's have a look at why the fabulously fruited film of Jodhaa Akbar continues to timelessly live and will surely breathe and be relished beyond the mundane realms of time and existence. So let's get on. They say history is written by the victors, but cinema is written by the dreamers. In 2008, Ashutosh Gowariker didn't just release a film, he unveiled a portal. Jodhaa Akbar is not merely a 3 hour and 34-minute experience. It is a sensory immersion, but analytically speaking of the film's factual authenticity, it is a fabricated interpretation of the turn of the events pertaining to the actual truths, with one of them concerning the name of the princess who became the other half of the double-faced Mughal emperor. Furthermore, contrary to the film's portrayal, the marital companionship was actually not so much of a devotional or a pure page of a powerful passion, wherein the historical chapters state that the female subject in question here was not the sole spouse of the strategic Akbar. The timeline of the chain of events charted upon the film's cinematic course dates back to the period when empires were built on swords and hearts were won with whispers. But what is it that keeps this film so belovedly alive nearly 2 decades later? Why does it feel more relevant today than it did upon its release? To understand why Jodhaa Akbar is a masterpiece for eternity, we have to look past the velvet and the gold. We have to look at the soul of the craft. The first pillar of this masterpiece is its pacing. In an age of rapid-fire editing, Gowariker dared to be slow. This film understands the architecture of silence. It allows the characters to breathe, to think, and to yearn. The romance between the Mughal emperor and the Rajput princess isn't told through dialogue, it's told through the space between them. Think of the iconic sword fighting sequence. It isn't just a display of choreography, it is a conversation. Every parry and thrust is a negotiation of power, respect, and hidden attraction. By refusing to rush the narrative, the film forces the audience to feel the heavy gravity of 16th century court life. This patience is what makes the payoff so emotionally devastating. Then we have the casting, a rare alignment of stars that felt like destiny. Hrithik Roshan as Jalaluddin Muhammad Akbar provides a masterclass in regal restraint. He portrays a man who is a god to his people, but a novice in the presence of the woman he loves. Although the character's innate historical traits are said to be heavily altered here, with an overly exaggerated display of his pious and noble intentions, with his malevolent and cruel-hearted deeds completely covered and obscured here. Keeping aside the creative liberties, his transformation from a cold strategic conqueror to a vulnerable empathetic ruler is the film's true spine. Opposite him, Aishwarya Rai as Jodhaa Bai is the film's moral heartbeat. She isn't a damsel in distress. She is a political architect. Her demand for a temple within the Mughal palace wasn't just a plot point. It was a revolutionary act of identity. The chemistry between Hrithik and Aishwarya isn't explosive. It is a slow-burning embers that never goes out. We cannot speak of eternity without mentioning A.R. Rahman. His soundtrack for this film isn't just music. It is a spiritual atmosphere. From the thunderous, earth-shaking devotion of Azimo Shan Shahenshah to the meditative Sufi trance of Khwaja Mere Khwaja, Rahman captured the duality of India, its grand scale, and its deep internal spirituality. Every note feels authentic to the era, yet timeless in its emotional reach. The use of the sitar, the sarod, and the heavy percussion doesn't just accompany the visuals, it elevates them into a realm of myth. The music ensures that even if you closed your eyes, you would still feel the majesty of the Mughal court. Visually, the film is an archival triumph. Production designer Nitin Desai and costume designer Neeta Lula achieved the impossible. They made the 1500s feel tangible. The jewelry was real, the fabrics were handloom, and the sets were built with the scale of actual forts. This wasn't movie magic, it was historical reconstruction. This commitment to atmospheric authenticity creates a psychological effect on the viewer. Because the world looks and feels real, the stakes feel real. When Akbar stands before thousands of soldiers, or when Jodha prepares a meal in the royal kitchen, the level of detail pertaining to the film's set designs anchors the film in a reality that CGI can never replicate. It is a tactile masterpiece. Ultimately, what makes Jodhaa Akbar eternal is its message of Sulikul or universal peace. The film argues that the greatest conquest is not the expansion of borders, but the opening of minds. Akbar's journey to becoming the great is directly tied to his ability to listen to a voice different from his own. In a world that often feels fractured, this film stands as a shimmering vision of what India can be, a place where different faiths don't just tolerate each other, but celebrate each other. It is a cinematic prayer for harmony. It reminds us that power without empathy is tyranny, and love without respect is an illusion. As the credits roll and the haunting melody of the Jodhaa Akbar theme lingers, you realize you haven't just watched a movie, you've witnessed a standard of filmmaking that is rarely met. It is a perfect fusion of direction, performance, music, and philosophy. Jodhaa Akbar belongs to eternity because it speaks to the parts of us that never change, our desire for dignity, our need for connection, and our hope that even the most powerful people on earth can be moved by a single act of kindness. It is and will always be the gold standard of the Indian epic. Hey guys, if you like my video, you can click on the like and share button, and you can also subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss upon these types of videos. Let's come together and celebrate the magic of movies.